Now to bring Etudes Opus 9 to an ennobling finish, embracing everyone on the planet, we turn to a classic piece by one of our greatest American, I dare say, global composer, Copland. I'm sure you will recognize the Fanfare for the Common Man. You may never have heard it staged quite like this. The Fanfare for the Common Man has been performed at more official observances than any other piece of its kind. Copland's piece was written in response to a call for 18 fanfares from the Cincinnati Orchestra in 1942, with each fanfare honoring a different part of the American war effort. 3 years ago on this stage for Opus 7 Etudes, we had the United States Army Herald Trumpets perform several fanfares, including one written by Jeffrey Ernstoff especially for the kin. But all of those were far busier, faster, and more active than Copland's. He took a completely different, opposite approach. Copland described his music as imposed simplicity. His music was highly accessible in the manner of folk music, with catchy melodies, transparent, uncluttered, but certainly no less profound. At first, Copland considered Fanfare for Democracy or Fanfare for the Four Freedoms as titles, the latter being a reference to 1941 speech by President Roosevelt. But Copland got the final name after hearing VP Henry Wallace's radio speech entitled "The Price of Free World Victory." In that speech, Wallace said, "Some have spoken of the American century. I say that the century which we are now entering, the century which will come out of this war, can be, must be, the century of the common man." Jeffrey?
Just a quick note, the surface simplicity here belies the profundity. Copland sets you up at the lowest end of the musical spectrum, the timpani, the gong, the concert bass drum. They're all playing simple figures that simultaneously focus our attention while telling us that something important is coming. Not to mention that the piece is commemorating wartime and that these musical tremors echo explosions in battle. Next we hear trumpets. They're entering with very, very wide intervals, wide spaces between notes. Copland begins each phrase with a three-note upward gesture. What he's saying is, look up, aspire, close your eyes when you hear this music, and you'll see how it lifts you. And while he's making this upward-moving statement melodically, the harmony and the instrumentation is moving ever downwards, from the trumpets, through the French horns, through the trombones, down to the tuba. So you got, this kind of thing happening. It's always getting wider, always getting more broad. It's the archetypal demonstration of the power of brass. And I took one liberty with this classic piece. I hope you'll forgive me for doing it, but I think it shows that great pieces of music, great pieces of art, great pieces of inspiration, whether they're in the arts or in business, it doesn't matter. They come from the present, but they refer to echoes of the past, and they take us to the future. Rob?
Right. So we present this piece for what is the most important reason of all. It speaks to and of everyone in our global community. It lifts our spirits. It becomes a metaphor celebrating the dignity of all humankind, our best spirits. It speaks to common desires, shared responsibility, and the advancement of life and prosperity. As you listen, think how appropriate it is that these young people are here in our midst. They will either be the beneficiaries of our foresight or the carriers of the burdens we've left behind. They are the men and women of our future. Fanfare for the common man.